She grew up in the Alabama backwoods catching catfish with her bare hands, and by the time the internet found her, she was already a force of nature. But behind the viral videos and the millions of followers, fans have been asking the same question for years. What is Hannah Barron actually hiding? A broken engagement she never explained, a new man she kept just out of frame, a family scare that almost changed everything. At 28, the woman they call the Catfish Girl finally let the world in. And what she confirmed had been right in front of everyone the whole time. Crenshaw County, Alabama isn't exactly the kind of place that produces internet celebrities. It's rural, it's quiet, and life there revolves around the land. For Hannah Barron, born July 3, 1996, that was never a problem. From the time she could walk, the outdoors wasn't a hobby, it was just life. Her parents, Jeff and Lisa, divorced when Hannah was around 8 years old. It was the kind of upheaval that reshapes a kid's world. But in Hannah's case, it pushed her closer to her father and deeper into the woods. Jeff Barron was an avid hunter, the kind of man who measured seasons by what was in them: deer, turkey, wild hog. He didn't just take his daughter along for the ride, he taught her to do it right. And Hannah took to it fast. By the time she was 8 years old, she had already taken down her first deer, a 7-point buck. But Jeff didn't just hand her that moment. He made her wait. Dozens smaller bucks passed by, and he told her to hold. When the right one finally stepped out, she pulled the trigger. She said later that lesson stuck with her far beyond hunting. Patience pays off if you're willing to sit with the discomfort. She grew up as the odd one out. While other girls her age were focused on different things, Hannah was learning to track, clean a kill, and read the land. People called her a tomboy. She didn't argue, she just kept going back into the woods. Nobody in Crenshaw County had any idea what was coming next. Before Hannah Barron was a brand, she was just a girl learning a strange skill from a neighbor. Noodling, hand fishing for catfish by reaching into underwater holes and letting them clamp down on your arm, isn't something most people stumble into. Hannah learned it in her teens from a neighbor named Brad Gavins, who had been doing it for years. Her dad had helped Brad out with something, and in return, Brad passed on the craft. Hannah took to it like she had been doing it her whole life. What happened next wasn't planned. One day, a cousin pointed a camera at her while she was out noodling, and the footage captured something that was genuinely hard to look away from. A young woman wrestling a 30-pound flathead catfish out of the water with nothing but her bare hands. They posted it, and the internet absolutely lost its mind. The video racked up millions upon millions of views. People who had never heard of noodling, never been to Alabama, and had no interest in fishing suddenly couldn't stop watching. Comments flooded in, shares spread across Facebook and Instagram faster than anyone expected, and just like that, Hannah Barron had a nickname she'd carry for the rest of her career: the Catfish Girl. What made it work wasn't just the shock factor, it was her, the fearlessness, the grin, the matter-of-fact way she handled something most grown men wouldn't go near. She wasn't performing for the camera, she was just herself. And that authenticity hit differently at a time when social media was already saturated with people trying too hard. She graduated Troy University in 2018 with a Bachelor of Science, building her following the entire time. But the real education had already happened. Out in the water, in the mud, on camera. By 2016, Hannah's following was growing fast, and so was something else. She had started dating a fellow hunter named Ryan Horton, and for a while the two of them were everything her audience wanted to see. They hunted together, posted together, and seemed genuinely made for each other. Fans loved them as a couple. The comments sections were full of people rooting for them. In October 2018, Hannah posted a photo wishing Ryan a happy birthday, noting it was the third birthday she had gotten to spend with him. The caption was warm and personal. Nobody reading it would have had any reason to think anything was wrong. Then, in December of that same year, they posed together after a night hunt. 2 deer down, both of them smiling. That was the last time Hannah ever posted him. By 2019, he was simply gone. No announcement, no explanation, no farewell post. Ryan's own Instagram went inactive around June of that year, and Hannah never addressed it publicly. For a creator who shares so much of her life with millions of followers, the silence was deafening. Fans speculated endlessly. What happened? Did someone walk away? Was there an argument? A betrayal? Nobody outside their circle has ever said. What made it stranger was the timing. Multiple sources indicated the two had gotten engaged in late 2018, right around those final posts. If that's accurate, the relationship didn't just quietly fade, it collapsed at the exact moment it was supposed to begin. Hannah never gave the internet an explanation. She just moved forward. And for years, that unanswered question followed her everywhere she went. After Ryan Horton disappeared from her feed, Hannah did something that surprised a lot of people. She didn't replace him publicly. No rebound posts, no vague heartbreak content, no dramatic hints at what went wrong. She just quietly redirected her energy into the one relationship that had never let her down. Her dad. Jeff Barron had always been in her videos, but after 2019, he became a constant. The two hunted together, fished together, and built a content operation that felt less like a business and more like a genuine partnership. Hannah even took on editing duties for Jeff's own YouTube channel, helping shape his presence the same way he had shaped hers years earlier. Their dynamic on camera was easy and real, the kind of father-daughter chemistry that can't be manufactured. Then, on January 5, 2024, everything stopped. Jeff climbed into a friend's lock-on tree stand to inspect it, and when he stepped onto the platform, the top strap snapped. He fell 18 to 20 feet to the ground, was knocked unconscious, and came to alone without his phone. In the kind of moment that defines a person's character, Jeff walked 400 yards back through the woods, climbed a fence, and drove himself home. At the hospital, the damage became clear. 3 fractured vertebrae in his neck, 2 in his lower back, and a bruised kidney. Hannah spoke about it publicly, and the fear in her words was unmistakable. Doctors had warned her that the broken vertebrae could shift and sever his spinal cord. One wrong move. That was all it would have taken. He survived, and for Hannah, it put everything else into sharp perspective. Somewhere in between the grief of 2019 and the scare of 2024, someone new had quietly entered the picture. His name was Paul Washer, a professional firefighter and Air Force aviator from Alabama. Hannah started posting him around 2022, and from the moment he appeared, her audience had questions. Who is this guy? Is it serious? Are they engaged? The comments came in waves with every photo she posted, and Hannah, true to form, didn't rush to answer any of them. She let the relationship breathe without turning it into content. No big reveal post, no sit-down video explaining the new chapter. Just a man who kept showing up, on hunting trips, in casual photos, and eventually in her Valentine's Day post in February 2024, the two of them holding up a catfish together with a simple caption, "Happy Valentine's Day." For Hannah Barron, that was practically a press conference. What fans noticed almost immediately was how well Washer fit into her world. He wasn't someone she was pulling into an unfamiliar lifestyle. He hunted, he fished, he was comfortable in the same spaces she had built her entire identity around. The parallels to what she had with Ryan Horton were obvious, but something about this felt more settled, more deliberate, like a decision made carefully by someone who had learned what it cost to get it wrong. The rumors that had followed her for years, is she seeing someone, is it serious, is she happy, had been circling since 2019. At 28, without ever making a formal announcement, Hannah answered all of them at once, not with words, just by letting people see. While fans were focused on her personal life, Hannah Barron had been quietly constructing something much bigger than a social media following. By the time most people started paying close attention, the business was already well underway. In September 2023, Hannah and Jeff co-founded Barron's CBD, a product line built specifically for outdoorsmen, adventurers, and travelers. It wasn't a random pivot into a trendy market. It was an extension of exactly who they were, aimed directly at the audience they had spent years building. Scientifically tested, practically branded, and launched with the kind of authentic backing that most influencer product lines never actually have. The father-daughter team that had made their name in the woods were now running a company together. Around the same time, Jeff had been working on something even more personal. He was building Hannah her dream home from the ground up with his own hands. Hannah referenced it on Father's Day 2024, posting a photo alongside a tribute to her dad that touched on everything he had given her: the hunting lessons, the patience, and now, literally, the roof over her head. Her brand partnerships had grown to match. Deals with First Form, a major sports nutrition company, and Purina Pro Plan sat alongside her own merchandise line at Barron Outdoors. Across her platforms, the numbers told their own story. Nearly 1 million subscribers on YouTube, 1.7 million followers on Instagram, and over 2.2 million on TikTok. Her net worth by 2025 was estimated at somewhere between $5 and $6 million. The girl from Crenshaw County hadn't just built a following, She had built a brand, and she had done it entirely on her own terms. On March 9, 2024, a political commentator named Samira Khan posted a video of Hannah on X. In the clip, Hannah was helping with the construction of her house, working alongside her dad, Southern accent in full effect. Khan's caption was direct and brutal. She wrote that Hannah's accent should be illegal, that women should be banned from manual labor, and that American women were, in her words, not feminine at all. The post exploded. Within days, it had accumulated over 60 million views. For most creators, that kind of targeted public attack would trigger a crisis response, a carefully worded statement, a team huddle, maybe a few days of silence. Hannah Barron posted an Instagram video the same week and handled it in about 90 seconds. She said she couldn't even remember the woman's name. She pointed out that should tell everyone how relevant the critic actually was. Then she turned it into something else entirely, a message about growing up as the odd kid, the girl who hunted and fished when it wasn't considered cool, who spent her whole life being told she didn't fit the mold. She wasn't performing toughness. She was just telling the truth. The response got 75,000 likes in under a day. The internet, for once, was almost entirely on one side. What Khan had intended as an attack became one of the most effective pieces of organic promotion Hannah had ever had. New followers poured in. Longtime fans felt vindicated, and the Southern accent that was supposedly a liability became the thing everyone was suddenly talking about. Hannah didn't win that moment by fighting back. She won it by refusing to take it seriously at all. Hannah Barron didn't set out to be a symbol of anything. She was just a kid from Alabama who liked being outside, learned to catch catfish with her bare hands, and happened to do it in front of a camera. But somewhere between the viral moment and the millions of followers, she built something that most creators spend their entire careers chasing, an identity so authentic that no amount of criticism, heartbreak, or outside noise could shake it. The broken engagement that her audience spent years whispering about, the new relationship she refused to turn into content, the father who nearly didn't make it home from a tree stand, the commentator who handed her 60 million views while trying to tear her down, every chapter that was supposed to derail her somehow made her harder to ignore. At 28, the rumors Hannah Barron confirmed weren't the dramatic revelations people had been hoping for. There was no hidden scandal, no secret collapse. What she confirmed was quieter than that, and in a lot of ways more powerful. She was exactly who she appeared to be. She was happy, she was building a business, a home, a relationship, a life. Sometimes the most surprising thing a person can reveal is that there was nothing to hide in the first place.